Hi lovelies, and welcome to my channel, or if you're returning, welcome back. Now today I am looking at the word of the year, one word, which for me last year was story. Now story for me last year, it wasn't quite as intentional as the year before when my word of the year was actually a phrase. It was slow living freedom, but still it crept in and it permeated, and it did affect my year, and it did make me feel like doing the one word is quite important. So looking back on the word of the year and reviewing where it crept in for me, I kind of came up with 10 key areas really, and it made me want to review and plan my next year's word around these 10 areas, which of course will be flexible. Spiritual path or spiritual practice, that's one area. Physical health and mental health, and entertainment, and there will be some crossover within these areas. Then a section that I'm calling home and hearth, so things close to home like your house, you decorating things in the house or your garden. And the next section was adventure, so things away from the house. Then another important section, creativity. Then we've got another section for goals and growth. Then finances. And then for me, because of what I do on here, I'm going to put reading, and that stands for decks or books, because that's probably a big section for anybody watching this video. So there are 10 really important sections there: physical health, mental health, entertainment, home and hearth, adventure, creativity, goals and growth, finances, and reading, decks and books. Okay, so for that, what I did, I went through and I reviewed my year, and I tried to work out just where story had crept in on all of these. For my spiritual practice, I think this was one of the biggest areas. On my channel, you will have seen soul stories beginning to appear, where I begin to pay attention to the voices that I get in my head and to take it more seriously, where I have been really fine honing listening to Spirit of Place and visiting areas such as Aston Hall, or those mines that I went to a couple of times, the woods, places that were important to me, Hayden Hill Park, listening to voices from the past, and then trying to find what stories are there, using my tarot to do that. It's something as well that you saw start when I was doing the Sheila Nagig visits to medieval churches. Now, I didn't do any extra Sheila Nagigs this year, but what I did do is continue channeling their voices in my art studio. So there are stories being told in art there, so I can write down here the Sheila Nagig stories in my art studio, which was just fantastic to do. It brought history into my life, and it made me realise that actually discovering local history became almost like a goal, and it definitely became a growth area. I kind of recognised that I did have a passion for finding out about buildings and locations, and I really began to just love it. I started watching ghost hunting videos because of the history in there, so it completely changed my viewing habits. It made me really keen to get involved in this world, although it did open up a whole wrangling in my soul about this term ghost hunting and using all the ghost hunting equipment. That's why I went with soul stories. I didn't like this idea of imposing myself on a spirit, something a bit more gentler, turning up and sitting with a tool that would allow them to tell a story rather than chasing after them. So my entertainment, oh my gosh, it did become about ghost hunting stories. But boy, ghost hunting channels and the debunking channels on YouTube is a whole rabbit hole of drama. So be warned. So I suppose there's almost a mediumship aspect developing in my spiritual practice because of this following of story. And also my spiritual practice, I continued with the Tiny Soul Whispers over on my Doll channel. I did lots more shorts. I'm doing the Divination December over there with daily card readings and really trying to listen to the voices within objects, within the energy that they hold. So this is all the story of the dolls. Within those shorts, I also did the history of dolls. History came out again then, added to the story. So for me, it's story and history combining. Another big reason for me picking the word of the year as story was for my own mental health. I wanted to change old stories that I was stuck in, repetitive patterns. The biggest area of change that I have seen here is the fact that I no longer am in and out of family triggers associated with thinking about family scapegoating. I know I've spoken a lot on the channel about that. That seems to have stopped now. I've really got to the point where I feel I've detached. I really don't care. And that to do that, I really went back and I revisited a load of old books. I reread them. I reread all my codependency books, my Melody Beattie books. I sat with that for a long time. So that really did impact that. And I can really feel like I have changed those family triggers. The story has changed to glimmers. And there is a video coming about glimmers thanks to the wonderful Gerald and Jamie on their live over at Tarot Stash, talking about glimmers, which is the opposite of triggers. It's like memories that make you feel great. One is being replaced by the other. And I've done a lot of soul retrieval work with my dolls. So this is with the dolls, and identifying aspects of myself that I'm mean about. Biggest revelation at the end of the year in this, about the idea that I am constantly trying to reject and get rid of the parts of me that actually have made me safe. So I'm ending the year, instead of being in, I shall put it, self-hate, there is not yet self-love, but there's definitely a lot more self-acceptance coming in. So these have been absolutely massive areas of growth this year, really around choosing the word story. This area here is the key place that I really chose the word story for. I've also done gratitude stories. You've seen one video on my channel for a gratitude story, which instead of just sitting and flicking through my tarot and just enjoying the art, I sit there and I think of a beautiful memory, a glimmer, and I think about where would the tarot fit in. It's a beautiful way of using tarot within a gratitude story. So gratitude has become a huge part of my year, really. The story of gratitude that has stopped me ruminating on the horrible bits of my life. I was really stuck going round and round this. Now I'm tending to go round and round this more. So that's been absolutely wonderful. A place that I brought this into play was in my creativity. I did Inktober. I've done some of Inktober, not all of it. There's been a lot going on with the kids, so I haven't had a lot of time in my art studio. Again, I'm going to write in mental health, going easy on myself. Normally I would be berating myself at this point, giving untrue stories. I'm going to put truth here because I've used truth more as a storytelling tool, because the truth is I didn't finish Inktober not because I'm lazy and useless, which is normally the voice I would use. I am doing 3.5 to 4 hours a day in the car doing the school run, and that has taken up and more any time that I would have sitting in my art studio drawing. So the fact that I've done any Inktober in this year that we've just had is damn good. So I'm going to put some stars there. Well done me. There is no need to berate. Can you see where this work is paying off? That would have been shame-filled, and that isn't. That's star-filled now. So the story really has taken on that voice of truth. So again, the Sheila Nagig drawings, I've loved doing that, and I didn't get any more visits, so that project has kind of filtered out. But again, I am going easy on myself. I'm using the truth of what that is. There has been an awful lot going on, so that can wait. And the painting as well, there hasn't been a lot of painting going on, but there are other things in the mix. I did decan collages. I did a few double page spreads in my tarot book. So I'm going to write up here in the reading, the decan walk. Now again, did I finish it? Nowhere near. I only did a few actually, but the few I've done, it's really opened up the story of tarot through the year from an astrological perspective, and I've really loved it. It is going to be something I'm going to try and pick up again. I know that Marlena Teresa has got some amazing resources now on her channel that I can go back to. But that really opened up the story of tarot for me. So again, that was a real success. Altered magic books, oh my gosh, I loved doing those videos. I do want to do more of those. So I've shared that and journaling lives on the channel, which I was really proud of. Now the altered magic books, for me the word story is coming in again there, because the book, you give the book a voice there, and I've realized over the year that that's what I love. I love listening to the energy as a language. So the dolls holding an energy that can give my imagination a conversation, or a book altering a page of a book, that page holds a story if you're prepared to let its voice enter your imagination. So the realm of imagination, I'm going to write that down here. Giving the realm of imagination the importance it deserves. That's the place where magic resides for me. We took the story of the Fool's Journey through the major arcana and turned it into garden arcana. So linking that tarot story into the garden was absolutely amazing. I did that with Thea over at Garden Goddess Tarot. Because of that, I ended up building a fairy garden. All the stories that can come about through the objects in a fairy garden, like having lakes and homes. Oh, it was just wonderful out there. So it also affected my deck choice. So story decks, I'll show you the decks that I think were impacted by my word of the year. Oh my gosh, so this is fascinating to me, because I had no idea that I'd bought so many decks based on the idea of story. Now this one isn't even open yet. I have watched the first 2 series of Stranger Things. I never watched TV, and yet this series really got me, and I haven't watched any more. So I bought this deck when I realised how much I loved Stranger Things. it's waiting for me to finish the series. I've kind of gone off watching TV again, so it might be a while, but that was because of the story in Stranger Things. I also bought the Tarot of Tales specifically because of the way it gives you kind of like a story plot in the guidebook to develop a tarot reading from. I've never seen sort of the format of a story being used like that, and I just couldn't resist in my year with the word of the year being story. Plus look, it's this most glorious storybook sort of fairy tale illustration, so I couldn't resist that one. And then this one, Lord of the Rings, Tolkien and the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, some of my favourite books. I really liked the look of this one. I liked the earthy vibes, and I think this deck is completely responsible for me developing a love of pip decks more this year. Never ever did I think I would see that happening, but I have absolutely loved using this deck, and I justified the purchase because, hey, my word of the year is story. This is one of my favourite stories. Of course I'm going to buy it. So this next deck, of course, is the Phantom Wise Tarot. The deck that's linked to the book In the Night Circus. Its creator is the same person that wrote In the Night Circus. I couldn't resist it, even though it's not quite as visually linked as I hoped it would be to the book, but it's still linked to some of the ideas around one of my all-time favourite books. I resisted for a while, and then I gave him this year because, hey, my word of the year is story. At the beginning of the year, I finally pulled the trigger on this one, which I've actually wanted for a long time. This is The Oracle of the Innocent Heart by Scott Alexander King. When I open it up and show you the cards, you can see why this was perfect to buy in a year when my word of the year was story. It follows the story of a childhood remembered, a girl who remembers her grandparents' house and the games she played and the animals she had and the gardens that they wandered in, and her brother. It is the most glorious journey back to childhood days, and I have absolutely loved this year. This, I think, is the most perfect deck for a keyword of story. I've loved this one, and the backs, look at that. And then my birthday present in November to myself was the Shakespeare Oracle, which, don't be fooled by the name, it is a proper tarot. This one is going to accompany me on my adventures next year in and around Stratford, I am certain. So if you haven't seen this before, you have the characters as the majors, and then you have quotes from the Shakespeare plays across the pip cards of the minors. So it's the fact that it's actually got Shakespearean quotes on, and they're all different, that just, it really made me want this deck so much. I honestly thought I would never find it. It's completely out of print. It was going for money that was way out of my budget, and then one came up in the UK on eBay, and it was going for a price I could afford, and I got it, and I was so happy. So that's the Shakespeare Oracle. Of course, it can't be a Shakespeare Oracle without being linked to story. And then the final one is this one, the Raven's Wand Oracle by Stephen Hutton. I'd seen this oracle before and absolutely loved the imagery, but I suspected it was linked to a book just because the characters are so well developed in the imagery, it just screamed that it was from some sort of book. So I googled who Stephen Hutton is, and the book series has got such good reviews. So I have the first book in the Raven's Wand cycle of books as a Christmas present to myself. I have done some work with this oracle during the year, and I have really loved it, I have to say. So I don't think you need to read the books to be able to work with the oracle. Well, I know you don't, because I haven't read the books and I've been working with it. And I think, again, it's got just real storytelling vibes, hasn't it? It looks like it is a book. I mean, look at the artwork is just so stunning. So that is an absolute treat to have in my collection. So the word of the year, guys, it can really influence even down to what decks you buy. That's what I found. So for adventure, of course, tracking down those soul stories, there were visits to Hayden Hill, which has sent me on a rabbit hole of discovery of places to visit in the Black Country where I grew up, in the West Midlands. Oh my gosh, I've done so much research. Aston Hall as well, so places around Birmingham as well, which is quite close to me. And then, of course, I've been into Stratford upon Avon, the home of Shakespeare, all year with my school run, and driving past Anne Hathaway's cottage every single day and turning into that road where the cottage is. It's like stepping back in time. So Stratford and the wonders of Stratford this year and the stories tied up with Stratford, that's been a big part of the year as well. In this entertainment section, this is looking a bit empty. But on my 3.5 hours a day in the car, mostly with my middle daughter on her own, who is a massive Taylor Swift fan, it has turned into a Swiftie concert every day, and it has made me realise that Taylor Swift is not just a singer-songwriter, she is the most incredible storyteller. So Taylor Swift has been such a massive part of 2023. We've been to see the film. We just missed out on concert tickets, which I'm devastated about. But Taylor Swift has got to come into this because she is one of the most epic storytellers of all time. One of the stories I always tell myself is I get overwhelmed with the garden and close it up at the end of the summer, and I vowed to everybody I wouldn't do that this year, and guess what is happening? December gardening. In fact, I'm going to try and bring a magic garden video soon. I'm dropping that story just as I am dropping the story that my family always told me, that I'm bad with money. I am not. I am good with money, has been replaced, and I am the only one of the 3 children that made it myself, that didn't get handed a family business, that didn't get dug out of a hole that they'd made for themselves. I paid for myself to go through university. I am damn good with money. I survived the most horrendously expensive divorce in history that wiped me out, and I've recovered from it. So that mental health story there, and the story about overwhelm, is 2 that I've also dropped this year. Now, shall we deal with this one? Physical health. I have not been able to get to that. This was stopping me, and this is a massive area that I need to fill with glimmers moving forward. We can do this, guys. We can do this. We won't talk about weight gain. We won't talk about the incredible journey that I'm going to have to undertake and the patience that it's going to take, because it's too triggering. It's triggering to me. It'll be triggering to people listening, but we'll just leave that you know, that needs work. So this is how I've kind of organised my recap of what happened with the word story and some of the key areas of my life. And I thought, why don't I use this map to try and plan a little bit more my next year's word, so it brings more intention into my word of the year. But wouldn't it be lovely to hit a new year with a new word with a little bit more intention, almost like a sun, which is fantastic because we're thinking about winter solstice just around the corner and welcoming in the light. And of course this is something that we're planning for the next year. We're welcoming in something new, so I'm going to think of this almost like a sun mind map. So my word last year was story. So what have I decided for my word of the year this year? Now, I could have pulled some oracle cards or tarot cards with extra words on to find a word randomly, and I have got a few extra words actually that I did that with, but I have to say this word, there was no special way of finding it. I was just sat doing the review and this word just suddenly popped into my head and I just thought, yes, that is it. And my word for 2024 is appreciate. So that is going to be my word of the year moving forward, and I love it. I looked at the meaning of it. The word appreciate means to recognize the full worth and importance of something. And I just loved that, to recognise the full worth and importance of somebody or someone. For me, that just screams self-love. It screams a continuation of the growth that I've already done. It can also mean, like financially, for things to appreciate, to rise in value or price. And again, doesn't that speak of self-worth? To look at yourself as more valuable, or to fully appreciate a situation, to fully understand something. I think to fully understand something, again, we see the nuances. Now, in my physical health, if I am going to now just start trying to brainstorm what this could mean immediately, to fully understand something, to appreciate something, to get the grasp of something, it means that I am no longer just a number on a scale, or how heavy I am, or how thin I am. I am so many other things apart from my body and my weight. So one of my goals around my physical health would be to fully appreciate all the facets of me, not just my weight. Like my kindness, my heart, my capacity to love, my generosity, my fun, my laughter, the magic that I can bring to people, my creativity. There's so many other aspects of me apart from how thin I am. So that can come into physical health when I start berating myself for the size I am, to return to appreciate. But also, this is going to be the biggest journey of the year. I do have to address this now because my physical health is really being affected. So if I'm using the word appreciate, to appreciate the food I'm eating more, to start looking at the nutrients and to look at lovely ways to cook food and to have a slow living philosophy in the kitchen where I'm not rushing, it's not fast food. I might even learn to appreciate the kitchen by putting up a kitchen altar. Wouldn't that be fun, to turn the kitchen into a witchy space where I actually want to spend time? So kitchen witchery, that's a lovely idea, because that would make me appreciate being in the kitchen more. It really would. For my mental health as well, this fully appreciating myself needs to go in here as well, because this will affect my mental health. To collect everyday wins. Often I think, especially if you're a busy mom or just a busy human, we have a list of things we want to achieve, and on that list the everyday stuff that we do, like the 3.5-hour school run, doesn't even go on there. We don't even consider it, like making the breakfast, washing up. It's all the stuff that we do after that we can never get to. So without fully collecting the everyday wins, we can never fully appreciate quite what we're achieving. I know I've had days where I've been up at 4 and haven't got to bed till midnight and haven't sat down at all, and I will turn around to the kids and I'll say, I've done nothing today. And it's because I'm not counting any of these. So I want to start fully appreciating my wins, whatever they are. I want to appreciate the moments as well. There's going to definitely need to be more mindfulness as well, which will also help with this journey. So mindfulness, and then the glimmers are continuing, because I've loved doing that. Glimmers and gratitude, appreciating everything. I mean, gratitude and appreciate, they've got to go together, haven't they? But self-love, appreciating myself more. There's going to be a lot of self-love practices for my witchcraft and my tarot work, and just across my life for 2024. So for my spiritual path, I think we've already got some here, haven't we? We've got magic around food, I think meditation, and I think because I'm collecting everyday wins, staying mindful, appreciating myself, I think some grimoire work around that. Grimoires and journaling and art witchery around that really needs to come into play. I really do think, with my skill set and my love of creativity, the art witchery needs to be a bigger part of my life. I'm going to put that down here. So grimoires and art witchery. Also, if we're in creativity and we're appreciating, I'm not bringing in new things. I'm using the resources I've got, appreciating what I've got, not chasing after something new, which will mean a lot of mixed media work, because I have a lot of boxes full of different paraphernalia, which also means doing altar boxes. I've been wanting to make altar boxes for a long time with all the bits I've been collecting. Again, with the tarot and the books, if we're appreciating what we've got, we're talking about a low buy year, and we are talking about some deep dives across the year as well, to really get to appreciate some decks. And I think we're talking about journaling, because I think once you start journaling with what you've got, you can really, really appreciate it. So that's going to be for tarot. For books, again, a low buy year for books. And appreciating, it might be that I do like read series of books, so we're staying with the same author to really appreciate them, or the same tarot creator. Right, for goals and growth, I really am going to transfer the history aspect of last year, because that was a growth area that really surprised me, and that will allow me to appreciate my location. I really am appreciative of living here in the UK. I think we have the most incredible history, and I really, really want to deep dive into Stratford. I want to read Shakespeare. Let's put that up in here. I want to not only read Shakespeare, but I want to use my Shakespeare deck that I bought myself for my birthday. And I want to Sheila Nagigs as well, to find the history of those. So that will be questing. That's the Sheila Nagig SNG questing, Sheila a gig questing for certain. I also want to revisit Margaret's house, and crossing both of these, I want to do more sketching and painting outside. That's adventure and creativity. Just to really appreciate the beauty of the places that I go. There's nothing like getting a sketchbook out and spending even 10 minutes doing a sketch to really see properly. So with appreciate and self-love going on, for home and hearth, I've really got to address the bathrooms. I want to make them into beautiful havens of self-love. At the minute, I've painted them a few years ago with the wrong paint, which has turned mouldy, so I've got mould in there. I've got no toilet seats because all the toilet seats are broken, and I've kept buying the wrong toilet seats, so in the end I just gave up. We've got no toilet seats. The bathrooms are not pleasant places at the minute to spend any time, so if I'm going to do any work, I want to, in the house, concentrate on the bathrooms and to really have a place to go and appreciate looking after myself. And I want to appreciate the space I've got more. I need to do, I hate to say it, but I really do need to do another declutter of the space, because I want to appreciate the space. I don't want to constantly be picking things up and falling over things. And in the garden, I really want to appreciate my garden, so I think I really want to do a garden journal this year, so I can go out and rather than just walking out and seeing jobs everywhere and getting overwhelmed, I can hone my attention and say spend a couple of hours with one plant and journal about it and sit and draw it. It will slow me down out there, which is what I need. I need to find a way to walk out there and it not just feel like jobs. I want to appreciate the beauty of the garden more, which will also mean up here working with plants again, plant witchery and flower essences and things like that. For entertainment, I definitely, after the Taylor Swift and how Taylor Swift transformed my year, I want to find as many songs and as many singers and to bring music back in. It also means playing my piano. I want to bring my piano playing back. That can go in goals up there, because I used to be really good on the piano. I want to appreciate the fact that I spent years learning to play the piano. For finances, low buy years again is really going to help. I might have some saving goals as well that I might set up. I might even look at doing some tarot readings, like professionally. I think I'm at that point where I could start offering some of those. And in entertainment, I want to appreciate my kids more. I want to go on adventures with my kids. Not that I don't appreciate them already, but we're getting to the point where they're going to be leaving home soon to go to universities or supported colleges. 2 years and both girls are going to be probably gone for a while. This is my last chance to really plan some adventures with the kids. I don't know what I was writing there. I must have been writing something. I think I was writing Adventures of Gods. I don't know where that was coming from, but adventures with the kids. Oh, and physical health. Oh my gosh, I feel like a old crone, honestly. I mean, I am an old crone, but I don't want to feel like they're measuring up the box just yet. I need to stretch more. Gosh, my body feels like it's falling apart. I want to appreciate every bit of my body, which means I might start doing some muscle work, some weights, muscles and weights. I want to feel my muscles again, and I want to appreciate my body moving. So I'm going to put walk, running. If I could be running again by the end of next year, guys, I would be so thrilled. And the goals and growth, fashion, oh my gosh, I'm missing fashion so much. I haven't got the budget to go and buy bigger clothes at the minute. I'm just wearing anything that will fit from a charity shop, and I am missing choosing fashion so much. So if I can bring fashion in any way, so let's put up here spiritual path, glamour, magic. It's got to come back in. I'm missing it so much. Big or small, whatever, poor or rich, I need to find a way. I need to find a way. I appreciate fabric and pattern and beauty. I want that back again, even if I am an overweight crone who can't put her own socks on at the minute. Okay, I'm going to put with adventure as well, friends connecting as well. I would like 2024 to be a place where I connect with other people more. I've been such a hermit for so long. I want to appreciate my friends as well and connect with them, doing adventures, or I'm going to put connect with friends here in entertainment, whether that be for a day out or whether it be to, like, say, the cinema or for a meal out. So there we go, guys. There is a welcoming the sun in mind map for my new word of the year that just came to me. You can see how doing a sun mind map like this can really give you a place to brainstorm where that word might go in all the key areas of your life. Now, I did say that I pulled some other cards around it. Of course, I couldn't just stick to appreciate because, well, I just couldn't. So I went to the Earthly Souls and Spirit Oracle, which has all these lovely keywords on, and I decided to pull 3 of them. So let's just see what these 3 are. We want to add them in around the top. So the first one is divinity. So immediately that goes into my spiritual path. So I'm going to add in deity work there, because I do need to find a way to appreciate my deities more. Next one, look at that, guys, mindful. We've already talked about mindfulness all the way round, so that's already on there. So that was amazing to pull. And then this one made me squeal with joy, earth. Oh my gosh, I was so pleased to see that. So that needs to go up here. Earth is the main element that I work with in my witchcraft. So to put earth up there was brilliant. However, that's made me remember water and fire as well need to come in. This is going to be an elemental year, I think, appreciating the elements. Can I squeeze that in up there to appreciate the elements and what they do in my practice? So guys, that is just absolutely amazing. I think that has given me such a clear vision for the year ahead without boxing me in at all. I don't feel boxed in by that at all. I feel like it's opened up the year in really magical, meaningful ways for me. So I hope that helped. I hoped showing you that sun mind map has giving you some ideas for how you might plan a year ahead around a single word. Let me know what your word is if you're doing a word of the year for next year in the comment section. I would absolutely love to know, so go put some words in for me. And thanks guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.